because we have only 1 hour left to complete that. So we will start with that. Meantime, if the other attendants, they can join with some webinar. Okay. So today in this seminar, we will see about how to create a ASP.NET Core CRUD application using Angular2 with some animation. Okay, I have written an article similar to that. So I will be using that and I will explain you how we can do in the live now. Okay, so here we have been using a ASP.NET Core template pack. So we will be see everything one by one. Okay. And so first of all, I would like to thank C Corner for this providing this great opportunity to speak for you all. And thank you, C Corner, for this opportunity. And I am a member of C Corner from the long time. Actually, I joined, I think so, I guess it is in 2003, I joined C Corner, 2006, I think so. So from that time, I was been learning many things from CSAP Corner. So around 10 years, I was been just learning many things from CSAP Corner. So after 10 years, I started contributing. So now I'm contributing for CSAP Corner, and also meantime, I'm learning from CSAP Corner. So again, is community. So community, we will be here for sharing and gain knowledge. So with our little knowledge we are sharing, and also with other knowledge we are gaining lot of things. So nowadays we can see lot of very good articles in CSAP Corner community. So from many authors. Okay, so let's start about today's webinar. Okay, so about me. So my name is Syed Shanu. I am basically from Madurai, Tamil Nadu, India. I am a Microsoft MEP for the past year 2016, and I am a code project MEP, CSAP Corner MEP, and also I have a 10 plus years of experience with as a senior software engineer. Now presently I am working as a senior software engineer at Seoul, South Korea. Okay, I guess everyone can hear you. I saw the message as Praveen Chandar and other friend as unable to hear. Can everyone hear me? Is that fine? Okay, because 2-3 members has messaged as they can't hear. So kindly check your earphone and all. Okay, fine. Then I will continue the webinar. Okay, this is about me, my introduction, and again I would like to thank the CSAP Corner for providing this opportunity. Okay, so again today, yeah. Okay, so first to create the ASP.NET Core template pack and Angular2, we need to install the prerequisites. So first we need to download the Visual Studio 2005 with update 3 version. Okay, if you not have a Visual Studio 2015, you can download it free for the community version, and also you can download the update 3 version. And after installing these three, so again I am telling that this is the, I have written the article and I have published in our CSAP Corner. So this is same article which I am going to discuss here today. So here from this article I have given the prerequisites, all the links. So first we need to download and install the Visual Studio 2015 and update 3 pack. After that, we need to install the .NET Core version 1.0.1. So now I have used the 1.0.1. So after this session, and I am planning to install the 2017, and after a month, we can see another webinar with 2017, and hopefully with Angular 4. Now today we are focusing with Angular 2. So next we can be for focusing on Angular 4. Okay, so these are all the prerequisites which we need to be installed to work with ASP.NET Core and Angular 2. So first, as I said, we need to have Visual Studio 2015, update 3, and we need to have the .NET Core 1.0.1. So from our website, I have the download link. You can download from the link and install it in your computer if you didn't have that yet. Okay, and also we need to install the TypeScript So here we are using TypeScript version 2.0, and Node.js version we need above 4.0 versions. So here I have already installed in my computer 6.9.1. So after installing all this, we also need to install the ASP.NET Core, the template pack. So why I have selected the ASP.NET Core template pack for developing Angular 2 is it is very easy to make a Angular 2 with ASP.NET Core application. So Gautam, no audio. I'm not sure why some people are not getting the sound. Is rest of all can hear my voice? Okay, fine. So I'm not sure about why they cannot hear the voice. So I will just continue with the flow. So why I have selected the Angular 2 and ASP.NET template pack means with ASP.NET template pack, it is very easy to develop the Angular 2 with core version, ASP.NET core version, because here everything is inbuilt. Why? After you install the template pack and when you select the template pack as a ASP.NET core static page, so where after the project is created, the Node.js and the dependency for the Angular 2, everything will be automatically added to your project solution, and you no need to build and run every time the Node.js to execute your Angular 2 TypeScript file. So that is the main advantage of using the ASP.NET Core template pack here. So first, as I said, we need to install all the prerequisites. So if you not have, if you didn't install it, so kindly go through my website from our C Corner, and you can download it from all these prerequisites and install it to your computer. So after installing, we will see how to create a project using this. So we will go all step by step. So prerequisites. So I assume you have understand that how to download and install the prerequisites. It will be simple. I have provided the download link. If you go to the download link, you can directly download from there and install it in your computer. So after installing this, we will see in agenda today. We will see about introduction to ASP.NET Core and introduction to Angular 2 and SQL Server, Web API, Entity Framework. So we use all these to create our ASP.NET Core Angular 2 CRUD application with using animations. So I will explain each part deeply. So if you have questions, we can have a Q&A section at the end of this webinar. So now first I will go with the demo. Okay, so ASP.NET Core, so we all know that it is an open source, and we can download the ASP.NET Core from the GitHub and also it supports the multi-platform. So we can also work on Windows, Mac, and Linux like that. So like this, the ASP.NET Core has many features, and also we can develop a web app, IoT apps, and mobile backend application development, which are all be supported by this ASP.NET Core. In the previous versions like our ASP.NET Web Form or MVC, these are all not possible. So we will be using only Windows to develop our web applications. But using ASP.NET Core, we can also develop with Mac and Linux also. So this is the main advantage of using the ASP.NET Core. So again, and ASP.NET Core will be run in the ASP.NET Core framework, or also we can use the default full .NET framework for executing our ASP.NET Core application. Okay, so again, it is open source, cross-platform. So these are all the main advantage of using the ASP.NET Core. And next is Angular 2. So Angular 2, again, it is an open source JavaScript framework. So it is also a cross-platform, and also using Angular 2, we can also develop a web-based applications and also mobile-based applications. And Angular 2 is more faster than AngularJS and Angular 1 versions. So the data management and the data rendering and also HTTP services like this, Angular 2 has many great features than Angular 1 versions. Okay. And so here is the framework for the Angular 2 architecture. So Angular 2 here we will be having mainly data binding, template, module, components, services, and dependency injections. And in Angular 2 everything will be as a component. So it is a component based. And here we will be having a template and a component. So template is our actual HTML part to display the data, and in component we will be having a class, and in that we will be creating our all the business functions, and we also use a HTTP services to get the data from our web API, and the result will be bind to our template using the data binding. And module will be like same our MVC module. So to create a class and to store the information. And services, again we can create it is a JavaScript, and we can create our own functions, and we can execute from the services to our component. Again, another important thing with Angular 2 is here we have the dependency injection. So dependency injection, it is a design pattern which is used to pass the object as a dependencies to the same component or to the other components in Angular 2. So this is the introduction about the Angular 2. In Angular 2, main thing we need to be know about the data binding, template, module, components, services, and dependency injection. So next one is the introduction about the database. So database is it is used to organize the data and to store the data, to manipulate the data, update like insert or everything like that. So nowadays everything is a data. So whenever we whenever we run our website or a mobile application or whatever so we need to store the data in certain places, and we need to do the update, or we need to select the data, or we need to delete the data like that. So to handle all this, we have a database software. So we have a database softwares like SQL Server, Oracle, and MySQL. So in our demo application, again, we are using the Microsoft SQL Server as a backend to store our data. So here we are going to store the student information. So we will be using the backend as a SQL Server. We will storing the student information like student name, address, phone number, email. All this information we will be storing in our SQL Server database, and we will be get the data from the SQL Server, and we display it in our Angular 2 ASP.NET Core application. So we will see how to create the demo program. So the database, it is simple. It is used to store the data, to retrieve the data, and to manipulate the data. Next one, here we will be using the web API to perform the CRUD operations. So again, we will be using the web API because it supports the HTTP services, and also in web API we have 4 methods like get, post, put, and delete. So get is to select the data from the database, and post to insert the data, put is to update the data in database, and delete is to delete the data from the database. So we will be using the web API, and with the web API we map the data from the database, and we bind the result in our Angular 2 ASP.NET Core application. We will see how to create a web API in our ASP.NET Core application when we start our demo. So next here we will be using the entity framework. So entity framework, it is a object relational mapper, and so here we can see that so when the application is executed, so the ORM interface will be started, and from entity framework it will be mapped to the ADO.NET provider, and it will connect to the database, and it will perform all our CRUD operation, and final result will be produced to our view page. Okay, so using the entity framework, it is very simple, and it is everything like automatic. So using entity framework, we just connect to the database, and it will be inbuilt. It will create a the select and all the methods to get the data from the database and to insert into the database. So programmers, we have no need to write a long coding to perform the CRUD operation. Using entity framework, it will be very simple and easy. And also it is easy to manage the one-to-one and one-to-many and many-to-many relationships using the entity framework. Okay, so again, to create our application, we will be using the SQL Server. So here I am using the version as 2014. And next we will be installed our ASP.NET Core template pack, and we will be using the entity framework, web API, and Angular2. Okay, so first thing is we will be creating a table in our SQL Server for manipulating our CRUD functionalities. So here I have a script, and again from our C Corner article website, you can also download the script. So here is the script. So in this script, I have a created a sample database as a database as a students DB. So we all know in SQL Server we will be having everything as a database. So inside one database we will be creating multiple table, and we will be creating multiple table to store the information. So now example here we have created a database name called student DB, which means in this student DB we can create a multiple table. Now example we want to create a student information, and also we need to create an address, and like this several things. So we will be creating all these table informations in one database. Okay, so here we have created a sample database as just a moment. Okay, so here we have created a first database as a student DB, and we will be using to create a database. We use the script called create database student DB, and we will be using this database. And after this, we will be creating a table. So after creating a database, we need to create a table to store the information. So here we have created a table name called student master, and here in this student master we need to store the student name, email, and also for phone number and address and all these things. Okay, so we create a table with the field called student name, email, phone, address, and all. So now in this demo application, we will be storing the student information with the name, email, phone, address, and student ID, which is as the primary key. And we have inserted some sample data in this table. So when we run this select query, we can see we have created a student ID, student name, email, phone, and address. This insert query will be used to insert the sample data. So here we have inserted 3 records of sample data. So after creating the database, we create the table, and after creating the table, we use the insert query to insert the sample data. And here we have to view the result, we will be using the select query. So now as the initial step, we have created our database and table. So next step, we will be creating our ASP.NET Core application, and step by step we will be connect the data from the database to our web application, and we will get that and we will display it in our Angular2 ASP.NET Core application. So first to create a ASP.NET Core template pack. So after we have installed all the prerequisites, open the Visual Studio. So here still I am using the Visual Studio 2015. So maybe next week I will be installing the 2017. So here we click new project, and here we select from the template, we select the web, and from the template we select web, and next we select the ASP.NET Core Angular2 starter application with .NET Core. We select this one. See, this will be available only when you have installed the template pack in your computer. So be sure you have already installed the template pack. If you not yet, from the prerequisites, kindly download and install it before you start the application. So now we select the ASP.NET Core starter application. Okay, we give the project name and we select the project path and everything okay. We click OK button. So after we create the project, we need to wait for 2 to 3 minutes, because as I told, this is the template pack. In the template pack, it will be automatically load all the dependencies which need to be used for our Angular 2. So now we can see from the solution as the reference is the message as like a restoring, and dependencies we can see as it is restoring. So when you open it, here you can see all the Angular 2 dependencies will be one by one, it will be installed to our solution. So in previous versions, we need to do this manually. So now using the Angular template pack, this will be very easy and simple. So after creating the project, just wait for 2 minutes. Let the packages and dependencies all will be installed to your solution. Okay. So first, after we create a project, first we will see how to create an animation. Okay, with Angular 2, with same like this animation we will be making. I will explain you that one by one. So again, it is loading and installing, so it takes time. Okay. So once loaded, we can see that here in the solution ASP.NET Core template, we will be having a client app folder called the client app. So this client app folder will be used to create our all Angular 2 component files. Okay. So by default, when you click on this app, here you can see there is a component folder, and we can see some default folder called counter, fetch data, home, and navigation menu like this. So this is the sample Angular 2 app has been created by this template pack. Whenever you create a project, the sample will be automatically created to your solution. So when we run the program now, we can see with the main home page, and also we can see all these counter fetch data sample will be automatically displayed from the Angular 2 to our web application. So let's wait. It is just building and running the program. So here I will explain this components. So here, as I told that we have a home component, fetch and counter and all. If you open that, here you can see the two files. One is HTML file and the component file. Again, HTML is our default HTML page to display the data, and component is our Angular 2 component. And same like this, we have a home, fetch data, and navigation menu. So navigation menu, I will tell you again. So here, when we run this program, it is again building. After run, we can see in the left side, we will be having a default menu navigation as home, counter, fetch data, and all. So this will be automatically created. So if you don't want to use the default menu, you can delete from here, and you can add or update your own menu in this navigation HTML file. So we will see that one by one. So first step, we have created our solution ASP.NET Core Angular 2 project, template project. So after created, we just run our application. So here we can see that after running our application, the default home page will be displayed with the default menu, which which we see as the fetch, counter, and home, and all those things. As I told, we have a left side, we will be having a menu called home, counter, and fetch data. So when we click the home, we have the default message over here. And again, we have one more menu called counter. If we click on this, here we have sample button to increment the value. So this will be using the Angular2. The sample application has been already created. So now what we do is we will delete these two menu, and in home we will use our logic to create an animation same like this, our presentation same like this. Okay, so to create a we will start with the home component. We stop this. So from navigation menu, what I do is I will remove, as I told that in left side we have home, counter and fetch data menu. So we will be removing these two as we are not going to use this one. So first we will see the home with the animation, and next one we will see how to create a student CRUD application. Okay, so in home page we can see the home folder within the client app. In app, in component, we can see the home folder. Here, if you open that, we can see two files. In Angular2, we will be having a two file. One is a HTML file and another one is the our component file. So this component file, again, it is a TypeScript file. So we will see how to create a new one when we do our student CRUD application. So when you open the component file, here you can see by default, it will be having a three main parts. One will be as the import part, and next one we will be having a component part, and next one we will be having our class. So the import part is to same like our program where we create a C program or a web application or whatever. So first we will be having a header file. So if we want to do the print, we will be using the text. We will be using the string like that. So for that we will be using the header file to do the default method functions. So here in Angular2, first we will be using the same like that. We will be using the import, and the core is like to perform the basic all operations of the Angular2. We import the core, and next part is the component. So in component, as I told, Angular2 is everything as a component base. So in a component, we will be having a selector and a template. So template is actually our HTML file. So here we can see that we have a component file and a HTML file. So HTML file will be to view our data, to see our actual output. So here our HTML file name is home.component.html. We give the path and the file name in this template. In required, we give the same path and our HTML file name. So the result of this component will be bind to this home component, home HTML file. So for that we give the template with the result HTML file name, and selector, again we give this component name as the selector. Here we give as the home, and we will be having a class with the home class. So this selector name and the class name will be same one. So these are all the main things to start with the getting started with the Angular2 applications. We need to have the import component. In component we will be having a basic, we have a selector and template, and next one we will be having a class. Okay, so now we see how to create the animation using the Angular2. So I have already created, I will be using that one. So I have already created the function, so I just copy paste that, and I will be explain you in one by one, step one by one. So again, in import part, last time we see as the component and Angular core. For using the animation, we need to import this trigger, this state, style, transmission, animation, and keyframes. These are all main things which need to be import for using our Angular2 animations. So after importing this in our component, first initially we see that we have a selector and a template. So template to our actual HTML file, and selector is the name. And another one we have added is the animation. So now we are going to use the Angular2 animation. For that, here we will be adding the animation. And inside this animation, we can create our own animation to perform our actions. So here I have created like several for creating a animation for each object. We create it as a trigger. Okay. So here this is now example. This is one. So we can remove this one. So this is the actual output of the creation of the animation. So inside animation, we will be having a trigger. Trigger is the say similar like a name. It is like in our field we will be giving a name, and same like that. This in trigger we will be having a name called. We can give the name here. We can give any name. Okay, we will be using this name in our HTML page to call the animation function. Okay, so here in animation we will be having a trigger and we will be giving the name, and next is the transition. We will be using void, or here we can use the star. Okay, if we use the void means the animation will be done only one time. When the page is loaded, the animation action will be performed. If we use the star, so whenever there is some event of event happen, the animation will be performed if we use the star. So here we use the void. So when the page load, we call this animation and the animation will be happen. So again in animate, here we give our animation second. How many seconds the animation need to be performed like that. So like here we have given as a 1 second. And now in style, next one in style. So what we do is we need to start the object from example from left, and we need to pause the and we need to slowly move the object from left to right. So for that we will be doing that object. Now example location, if it is like a default location, it will be as a 0. If I make it as a location offset, here I make it as a that length. If I make it as a if I make it as a 900, which means that the default object will be as a, from 0, it will be start from the y-axis lane from 900 position, and from there after a time it will reach to the 25 position, the location, which will be slowly move and come to this place, and finally it will come to the 0 means the actual place, actual position of the object. So it will come and stop over there. So we are making a move from the left to right or from the right to left like that. So here I have created a trigger called move top and move right. So move left and fade in like this. So we have created a 5 triggers over here.
Shayad,
HTML.
Shayad, sorry to stop you. Hello.
Yeah.
Shayad, can you
Yeah,
please
yeah.
little bit zoom the screen as like code is not visible to the attendees?
Pardon?
Could you please zoom your window as code is not visible to the attendees?
Okay. Actually, I have already shared my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can share your screen, but the code is not visible properly.
Okay. Then I will zoom it. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, this is fine, right?
Right. Thank you.
Okay. So as I said in animation, we will be having a trigger, and here we give the name, which will be used. This name we will be using in our HTML to call the animation. Okay, and in transition we will be having as a void. Void means we will be doing the animation for only for the one time, and if we use the star, we can make it for a multiple time, and again animate time frame. So how many second animation need to be happen like that. And next one we are having the style. So here we are moving the object from left to right or top to bottom like that. So here example I have make it as a move from bottom. So default position will be object will be as a 0. If I make it as a minus 200, from minus 200 place to it will be slowly move towards up to the 0th place. Same like that we have created for bottom, top, right, and left, and fade in the data, the visible. It will be like a fade to the visible to the bright like that. So next one we have a component. in component, I just copy paste that. So here, actually, I told that we will be having a trigger and we will be having a trigger name. So this trigger name will be used to call the animation from our HTML. So to call that, here we can see we have a H1 tag. So here I have called the animation. To call that, we will be open and close, and here we use the at symbol. At, we will be using the our trigger name. So here our trigger name is fade in. So first we call the fade in one, and this one is optional. And next one, within this H1, we can give any text over here. And same like this, we have when we run this, we can see that. So same like that, we have created four div tag. So the div tag, I move from the left and also I move from the right like that. Okay. So here I have created another div tag. So in this div tag, I have called the animation called move bottom. And again, I created another div tag and I called the animation called move top. And I create one more div tag and I call the animation called move right. So here to call the animation from, we can here we can make any tag and we can call the animation for the particular tag like that. So here when we see this, here we can see the fade in. First one will be as the fade in. So the top text as the fade in. So we can see that from blur to the bright, it will be changing from blur to bright. And also we have animations like from move from left, move from top, move from right, and move from bottom like that. So here these are all like a div tag, one and one more div tag like that. So in div again we call this animation trigger. Okay. So this is a simple demo for creating animation using the Angular2. Okay, so after this, next one we will be seeing how to create our CRUD application. Okay, so okay, first step is now we need to use our entity framework in our ASP.NET Core application to connect to our database and to get the data from that. So for that, here in ASP.NET Core, it is everything will be as a any packages. So for that, first we need to add the. So here we add our the entity framework. Okay, so here we use the version as the 1.0.1. So after we paste this entity framework, and when we click on the save, if we save the file, we can see in the references it will be as a restoring, and our entity framework will be installed to our solution now. Here we can see that. So once it is completed, we can see the message as the new package has been installed here. The entity framework has been installed now. So now we have added the entity framework to our ASP.NET Core. The next one we will doing is the we need to connect the data from database to our ASP.NET Core application. So for that we need the connection string. So to create the connection string, we open the app setting.json file. In ASP.NET web form or in the MVC application, we will be using the web config. So in ASP.NET Core, here we will be using the app setting.json file. So here we will be establishing, we will be giving our connection string. So, so we will be using the default connection as the connection string name, and we will give our the SQL server name, database name, and password and all. So after that, we are ready to connect to our database. So next step is, we'll see one by one. we have now created the database, SQL Server database. And next one, we have created our project, and we also all the dependencies has been successfully added to our solution. And next one, we have created the entity framework. And next one, we have added the connection string. So after that, we create a class called the student master. So now we create a two class. One will be for a model, and one will be we will be creating for a the DB context. So first one, we create a student master for the model class. Okay. So for that, here in our solution, we create a folder called data, or you can keep it as the folder name as a model like that. So now here I create a folder as data, and here we create a class. We create a class file, and we give name as the student master, and again this is our table name. So here it is the table name we are using, and we will be creating a property with the same field name over here over our table. So I have already created that. So we need to add the import that. Okay. So we have created with the model with the student ID, student name, email, phone number, and address. This is same like our column name. Okay, our table column name. It will match same like that. And next one, we create a database contest. So here we create a contest called as the student contest to connect to our database. So in data folder, again we create one more class file called student contest. Okay, the database set will be as the student master, which is our table name. And here we have created a student contest as the database contest to connect to our database. And next one is in our, we have a startup.cs file. So here we need to add the following one. In configure service, we add this. So here our contest is the student contest, which we have created now in the data folder. And also we have created the SQL connection string in our app setting. So here we give the same name over here. So this is our connection string, and this is the contest database contest which we created now. So after this, what we do is we create a web API to create perform our CRUD operations. So to create a web API from the controller, so MVC controller, we need to be careful with that. So here we have the MVC controller. So right click this and we click add new item, and we give the same name. Select ASP.NET, and here we have the MVC controller class. So from that you can select that, or we can select the web API controller class. We give the name as student master API. We click add. So here we can see that when we create a web API controller, by default we'll be having a get, and will be having a post, put, and delete methods. So as we already see that web API, using web API, we will be having a default methods called get, post, put, and delete. So get will be to select the data, and post to insert the data, put we use to update the data, and delete we use to delete the data. Here we can see that by default we will be having the one parameter as integer ID like this for the put and delete, which means that using this ID we will be updating the data, and using this ID we will be deleting the particular record from the table like that, for to use like that. And also in post method we submit our form value to insert in our table, and get method we will be we can use the get without parameter to get all the data, or with condition we can use the condition to get the data by using the where condition like that. So now we have already created a method to perform our CRUD operation. We will see this one by one. So here we give the route as the student master API slash student master API. So we will be using this one in our Angular2 HTTP to call the web API method. And next one here I have already created, so I will explain you this one by one. So we need to add the reference. Okay, this is our model which we created now. In this web API, we have created a code method. So as already told, to get the data, here we use the HTTP get method to get the data from our database. And we have given the method name as get student master. And this is our model and our table name student master. So this will return our all the data from our database table. Okay, so we use the method to get all the student data, and also we have a method to post to insert the student record data. We will be using this method, the HTTP post method, and we have given the method name as post student masters, and we will be giving our input from the HTML page, and we submit the data, and we will be passing all the data parameters in this method to insert the data. So next one we have like a put student master. It is to update the data. We update the data by student ID. Here we have the student ID. So we will be using this student ID to update the data. And next one we will be having the delete method to delete the data. So now we have created our web API. So to see if our API has been successfully created or not, so just we can run our application, and here we can see that our route we have been using the API slash student master API. So we can copy that. So now the program is running, so we can wait for just 1 minute or 2 minutes. And before that, we copy this route API slash student master API, and we need to get the student data. So here we have used the student. So we will be using API slash student master API slash student to see the result of the student from our database in our web API. Okay, so here we can see that the result of our database has been displayed in our from our web API. So here we have a sample record which has been already inserted. So we can see all the results. So now as we have created our database tables, and also we have created our ASP.NET Core application. And next one we have installed our entity framework, and then we give the connection string. So after that we have created our web API. So next part will be to create a Angular2 application to perform our CRUD operations. So for that, first we create a folder in our component, app component. So we go back to our Angular 2 components. So here I told that we will be having an app folder, and inside this we having the component folder. So if we want to create a new page like that, a new Angular 2 component, so first we create one folder for easy access. Now here we create a folder as a students. So inside this student folder, we will be creating our Angular 2 component and our HTML file. Okay. So here we have given the name as student.component. We will be using this. So now we add two files. One will be as our TypeScript file. So we select the client side and we select the TypeScript file. So here we give the name as students.components.ts. This is a TypeScript file. So this is to create our Angular 2 component. Okay. Okay, I will zoom. Sorry for that. I will zoom now. And we create one more file as a HTML file. Okay. We select the HTML page and we give it as the same name as student.component. We click add. So now we have created two files. One is the component file and one is the HTML file. So in component file, I have already created a function to perform our CRUD operation. So I will use this same one. And I have so I will explain you this all one by one. Okay. So first we run this program and we see the output. Okay. Okay, I will explain you this again one time. So first we in component we need to import that. So after import, we also here for this CRUD application we import the HTTP because we need to get the data from the HTTP web API services. So for that in Angular 2 we import the HTTP response and headers, and also we are using the HTML form. For that we import the form module. So after that we have given the selector name as the students, and again in this page we are using the animations. So we are using same like our home page. So here we created the animation with the trigger name like button resize, like move bottom, move top, move right, move left, fade in. We have created the same animation like our previous homepage example. And again next one we have the template, and here we have we call the student dot component template HTML file. So here we will be displaying all our student operations functions in our HTML page. So next one is now we create a class, component class, same as the student component. And first one we will be creating a model. So for here we create a one export class. So interface, and here we'll be having a same like our student ID, student name, email, phone, and address, which is same like we created in our MVC model. So it's same like that. We have created with the same our database field name. We have created this, and we so first, when in the component class, so we will be storing this student master in the student. So to perform our CRUD operation, we get the data from the web API, and we will be getting as the JSON, and we need to store it in the array. So we use the student to store the web API result. So same like that, to edit the data, again we declare the variable student ID, name, email, phone, and address. So first we have the init method. So in this method constructor, so for this method will be default running when the student component start executed. So here we have using the HTTP services to get the data. So in constructor, first we call the get data method. So in get data method, this is to animation start. and in get data method using the HTTP get, here we will be using our web API path with the method name. So here we can see that in web API we have API/student master API, and to get method here we have router, we have used the student. So we will be using all these in our HTTP get method. So here we already see the output as a JSON output, we already see that. So that output will be added to the student which we have created as the array here. So we will be getting all the data in the student. So in our HTML again, in HTML, we will be creating a table to display the data, record one by one. So here, well, now I can show you the example. So when we run this, this is my previous example, which I was created already. So I will show with this. So as I told, the web API result will be stored in the student array, so which we have created in the component, which we have created here. Okay, and we will be using this in our to get the data to store it in the student array. So we will be get here as a JSON result. So we need to bind this result to our HTML page. So to bind that in Angular2, we will be using the ng-for. So ng-for is, well, it is again, it is a looping, and it will get all the data from the student data, and we create a student master object. So here student master, if we click dot student ID, so we will be binding first the student ID, and student master dot email, we bind the email name. Same like this, we bind all the result in our table TD. So here we can see that. So when we click the student, so we start with the simple animation, and also we can see that now we displayed in a result as the table, and also when we start the program, we start with simple animation even with the table. So here in table we can see that again. In table TD, here I have used the animation as I already told you. So to use the yeah, so to use the animation, again we use the @ symbol, and we give our trigger name. And so for this particular TD, we are using the animation. So it will be from the move bottom, from bottom to top, it will be automatically loaded the data. So we can see that here. Okay, so here after that, we bind the data with the student ID, student name, email, phone, and address. So for that, we are using here ng-for. So using the ng-for, we bind all the data one by one here with the student ID, name, email, and phone number. So again, inside this table, we have two buttons called edit and delete. So here we have the edit and delete button. So we have created two buttons called edit and delete. So when the user click on the edit button, we call the method. So in this method, again, we pass all the information and we bind the result to our controls. So when we click on edit, we call the method and we bind the record to our controls here. So here we can do the edit, and when we click on save, the information will be added to our database. Okay, it has been updated now. So in add, so again in our component, so when we call the method, here we have a add student method to create a new student, and we have edit student detail. So first we get the information in the method and we bind to the controls here. So now to bind the controls to with our data, and after that when we click on save button, so here we have in save button click, we call add student detail. So here we check the student ID is 0 or not. So what I do is when we click on add new student information, I will set the student ID as 0. When I click on edit button, so here I will be using display the student ID. So which will not be equal to 0. So if it is 0, which means we are creating a new student, and if it is not 0, we are editing the existing student. So I check that in our Angular component, and if it is 0, I call the post method to insert the new record, and if it is not equal to 0, I call the put method to update the data. So again here we pass all the parameters to be inserted like student ID, student name, email, phone, address, and all these details. So again, next one we have the delete method. In delete button click, I call the delete student detail method. So here I just pass the student ID, and here we have called the http dot delete method. So again we have used our web API. We pass the web API, and we will be deleting the record by student ID. So now example, if we create a new record, I didn't use the validation over here. This is for only for the demo. So if we click save, we can see one new record has been inserted in our table. So again, if we check with the table, we can see as the new record will be added. So we can also do edit, and also when we click on delete, this record will be deleted from the database. Okay, so this is the simple demo on how to create the Angular 2 animation with the CRUD functionalities. Hope this is useful for you all, and you can download the source code from this C Corner article page. So I have explained everything in my article, and also you can find the download program link here. And another thing is you can also find the SQL script to create database table and all. So this is the download part, and so you can also find my other articles from the CSUP corner. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can ask me now.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Mayur here.
yeah. Tell me, Maya.
Yeah, actually, I seen your web API method. So, on web API 1.0, we inherited that class with API controller. But in your case, you inherited that class with controller. So, what is the difference? Because controller is an MVC controller.
Which one?
In web API, you can go to web API class.
Okay, okay. Here.
Yeah, actually, see this student master API colon controller. Okay. So
Okay.
this controller in web API 1.0, it is related to unbasic controller. And when you want to create a API, then it inherited from API controller. So I didn't get this how it is.
No, in ASP.NET Core, we no need to be used as a API controller here. So we can also go with the controller. So it will be fine.
See this basically ASP.NET .MVC controller. So what is the difference? Because in earlier routing is done on depending upon this. So API slash and all this. So I didn't get this.
Okay, because here we already set the routing, right? So we will be using this routing in our application.
So you mean to say this controller can be used as MVC controller as well?
Yeah. We can use it as the MVC controller as well as the API controller.
Okay, so if I add one more route below this route student slash student master, so it will be considered as a web application UI, is it?
You want to add one more route as a?
route student/student master.
Yeah, you can add like that.
Okay. And one more question, as it is a ASP.NET Core application, so I seen that there is no web config and all this global.asx. So if I want to host this application on a Linux server, so how to host this? How it comes like it is an application?
Sorry, I was been still stick with the Windows only, so I didn't go with the Linux, not yet. So if I come
Okay,
to know, I
so
will.
okay. So basically, on Windows Server as well, when you it is IIS, is it? So on IIS, it first go to the web config and global.asx file for application start and all this thing. Okay. So from ASP core application, how IIS come to know this? Where is it? Global.asx file and global application start, and is
So
it any entry point in this ASP core?
yeah, we have the startup file, class file, right? So again, I told that we will be using the our connection string, all those in our the configure service over here.
Okay, so how IIS come to know? I have to fetch data from startup.cs or global.asx or web config file.
So what data you want to store over here?
Sorry.
What data you want to store over there?
No. Actually, I am little bit confused about ASP.NET Core, because in the standard version we host that application on IIS, and IIS get all the information about the application from global.asx and web config. Is it?
Yes, yes.
So when I am hosting ASP.core application on IIS, so how IIS come to know? Like I have to fetch data from startup.cs rather than fetching data from global.asx.
I am not sure about that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, Shanu.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me.
So here you added the connections in the app settings from JSON, right?
Yes. Yes.
So why can't we add in the web.config file? Means if we add the connections in the web.config, can't we connect with the database?
That is the difference between our default web form and our ASP.NET Core application. So here we will be using a app setting to store the connection string.
Means here we don't have a chance to add in the file web.config file.
Now, web.config file we will not be using no more in this our ASP.NET Core. So we will be using the app settings for that.
Okay. And one more, like in services, can you go to the services, please? Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have just added the group of like APA, one attribute you added, right? Before the starting the service, you just added one attribute, root and other. What is the purpose of that? We generally, if you are using HTML, we will use only HTTP, for those attributes, right? So you are used one.
No, no, your voice is breaking.
Hello?
Your voice is breaking.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Hello. Okay, Santakumar, how about if there is no more, we can close that.
Hello.
Yes, Santakumar.
Yes, I think nobody question.
Okay, okay.
If anybody want to ask question, please ask Sean.
If you have any other
So I
questions, you
have,
can ask me.
Hello,
hello,
Shan.
hello, son. I have a
Hello.
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Please
yeah.
one
Tell
by
me,
one
tell
ask
me.
question.
Can I speak?
Yeah, yeah. You can ask me.
Yes, actually, now presently I'm using something where I just created like this Asp Net Core application, but there I didn't found that project or JSON file. So how can I add that HTML DLL there if the
No, no,
project or JSON file is not there?
no, no. Your voice is breaking. Can you one more time?
Just wait. Uh, Hello.
Ah, yeah. Tell me.
Yes, now able to listen.
Yeah, yeah. Now I can.
Yes. Hello. See, presently I'm just working with Business Day 2017.
Okay.
Hello. There, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
created the same sample application like this Asp.NET Core application.
Okay.
But there, I didn't found the project.json file. So how can I add the entity framework DLL if the project.json file is not there?
Sorry for that. I didn't start yet with the 2017, so I was going just stick with the 2015 because I have some other work to be do with this now. So I have planned to start 2017 after a week or a month like that. Not for now.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. If you have any other questions, just let me know. Otherwise, you can also reach me anytime in my Facebook or by my mail ID is here. So you can all contact me anytime. So I will be available like a 24/7. So if I have time, I will be just check the message and I will try to help and support all.
Shanu,
Yes.
still one more doubt. Um,
Yeah.
Here for saving the data or for editing the data, just you wrote the method right that add student details.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, there is any one of the class is going to call that method means they have to pass what you are as a parameters. They have to pass that parameters value, right? So is there no chance to write in another way because you are the multiple. If there are multiple columns under, we need to add multiple parameters, right? So instead of that, can't we go with different one?
No, no, your voice again, it is breaking. So what is your question actually? So I have used the method
Ah,
called
yes,
add
add
student detail.
yes.
So I have
See
passed the
here that.
parameter.
Hmm.
Okay, tell me.
See, if I'm calling this add student details in any one of my ways, like I need this add student details method. I want to
Okay,
call this. If I'm calling this, I need to pass these parameters, right? Like student ID, student name, email, phone, address.
okay.
If there are only 5 columns, okay. After that we can. But if there are multiple columns, then how can we add like that?
No,
Can't
no,
we?
for that, this is only a sample. So I have created with the passing as a parameter. For in this case, you can pass as the form. So form data, you can directly pass that, and also you can get the data in your web API. So you no need to pause one by one. If you have a long parameter.
Then how can we done?
So I will, okay, can you drop me a mail or a message? I can send you a sample for sending a form to the method to store the information in your database to perform the code.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I
Okay,
will drop you a mail. Okay, thank you.
okay,
Thank you
okay,
very much, Shanu.
okay. Thank you. So is there any other questions?
No, thank you for your session.
Okay, hope you all like my webinar. So soon I will getting started with the 2017, and also I will come back with the Angular 4. So I am planning to start with the Angular 4 now. So it is already released. So I am eagerly waiting to work with that. So soon I will come with Angular 4 and with ASP.NET 4 with, and also using the Visual Studio 2017. So as I already told you, you can contact me anytime like that. So you can just ping me with your message or queries. So if I am not available, I will check with later, and I will be try to solve your all your queries and like that. So don't hesitate to ask any questions with me. So I will be available all time. So you can reach me with my Twitter account or with my Gmail ID, or also you can also contact me directly sending message by in the C Corner also. So hope you all like this. So thank you very much for attending this. So I am expecting all your suggestions and feedback about the webinar. So it will be easy for me to improve more, to more make it more better for you all. Okay, thank you all. So we can close today here from here.